Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Waypoint Media Club, your one-stop shop for discussions on TV shows, movies, and video games, and maybe someday a book. But guys, wow. Today I have with me Al Bob 875, your so-called
Hello.
Hearst, Austin J. Ernst,
Me.
Jim Tasty, aka Brett,
Conditional Jim Tasty.
conditional Jim Tasty,
Ooh, I like it.
and then my other half of the Orphan Gamers, LeighErin Jess.
Hi.
All right, guys, we made it. We got to
We're
the
here.
end.
Did it.
We're here.
Who would have thought?
I mean, we would have got here eventually. That's how time
Yeah,
works,
no.
right?
But like, so we know how it wraps up now. We've seen the whole series, how everything's connected. What are you guys' like initial thoughts on the finale?
I was a little bummed out, honestly. I feel
Okay.
like overall it wrapped up well, but like I think I was bummed out because of my own flaws of wanting something more kind of a thing. But I'll let you guys discuss that too, because I feel like that could be relative to all of us. Go ahead.
go
I
ahead.
think that it has been 7 or 8 years since we have had a building block project that is setting up something bigger, and that a lot of us went into this expecting Endgame when really we should have been expecting a setup. And yeah, Austin. Oh, sorry. I thought Austin
Go
was
ahead.
starting.
Go ahead.
Because I realized I went to bed kind of pissed that at the ending, and I wasn't thrilled with it, and there was more stuff I wanted handled, and then I went, oh, but now we have a very clear setup for Doctor Strange 2, and I can kind of tell where they're going, and I think Jordan might have been right last week. We have
First time for everything.
we have a setup for Captain Marvel 2 in the Nick Fury reference. We have a setup just in the whole Vision thing for Armor Wars. Like, we have the starting blocks for so much stuff. And once I went, oh, this is setting up phase 4, I was like, oh, never mind. Like, it wrapped up the show well. It was sad. It made me feel something. I cried. And we're set up for, like, the rest of the year.
I definitely,
Go ahead.
like, I don't think it was a bad ending. By no means. I actually think the ending was almost perfect. Like, we saw, Wanda had her acceptance of what was going on. She got to say her goodbyes. She was able to achieve her full power, all that stuff. It did just feel like it was missing some type of an oomph or an oh fuck moment that we've had so many times throughout this series. And I do think while it is really easy to blame just the way fandom has gotten on the internet, where it's like everybody has their theories, and there were people expecting fucking Magneto and Charles Xavier to pop in, or who know, and then it still felt as though there were some things that were painted as though they were going to be something, and then you never got there. Like, if the aerospace engineer was never mentioned after that episode, I would have been very quick to be like, no, guys, it was a throwaway line. It's not Reed Richards. But it kept coming up.
Did we ever get one? Okay.
No. But
Yeah.
But in that same vein, again, how long has it been since we had a project that didn't end with a big oh shit moment? And I mean, it kind of did end with an oh shit moment. Her being able to hear the kids is huge.
Yeah.
And us having it confirmed that her powers aren't just the Mind Stone. It's also just her, which is something that nobody ever thought was going to happen. And they had told us, oh, her powers are from the Mind Stone. We're okay, bye. We're cool. We're done. So I think I think it was a lot of setup for the rest of the MCU. And like the same way that Iron Man's a good movie and there's a fly. And Captain America, 1 is a good movie, but they're set up for something bigger.
It's funny because we were just talking about Age of Ultron before we started recording, and I don't want to compare the two because that's an insult to WandaVision, but
Yeah.
there are similar-esque choices being made to set up what's coming after. So that at least stood out to me.
That's the other thing. Sorry.
Albab, did you have something that you wanted to say?
I was just general my episode thoughts, so you guys can finish. I was just telling my parents to turn the movie down.
Just, I do feel like a lot of complaints, for lack of a better word, that I may have. I need to reserve until I see Doctor Strange 2, because I don't know where a lot of this stuff's going to lead to. I don't know if Doctor Strange 2 is going to reveal that Wanda did crack open the multiverse, or Mephisto was pulling the strings the whole time. It just felt like something in the ending fell flat with the way everything else was painted. But I'll stop talking for now because I know everyone else needs to talk as well.
Brett, what do you think?
Yeah, like it was fun, hypothesizing who's gonna show up or what's gonna happen. But after I watched it, I still was pretty satisfied with just what we got from Wanda and Vision. I liked them before, but it definitely just my appreciation for those two characters grew pretty immensely.
100%. 100%.
So
Jordan, real quick, Jordan mentioned earlier that like this ended like the way it needed to, and I think what he was getting at that way was emotionally for Wanda and Vision.
Yeah,
because,
yeah.
Like
Yep.
action wise, probably not, but like for the plot and like closure and those kind of things, yeah, I totally did.
Again, plot wise, my personal opinion, think that it ended great, arguably perfectly. It just lacked a flavor to it. But yeah, no. And then like even the fight scenes, I really like Vision versus Vision as a fight scene was really good. And then I think that they were like, okay, the writers I think realized they're both evenly matched because they're literally the same person. But you also have to remember, Vision isn't just, a brain. He's not just brawn, he's also brain. So then them having the fight via philosophy, I really liked.
I loved it.
That's
Brett,
something I want.
We cut you off a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Brett, do you have anything else? And then Alba can go.
Yeah, I was saying like, so just those two characters were phenomenal, and then I did like the Vision v Vision kind of confrontation, and just going forward, ending on the hope of her kid still being alive or something. Vision, what's Anti-Vision is a character in the comic book, the white version. So that version of Vision still being alive with some sort of cognition of who it really is, I guess, was nice to see. And real quick, this show didn't end with like Wanda will return in or anything, right? It just ended.
No, because
That
we
is
know
correct.
she's going to return.
She's literally filming right now.
Right. I'm just saying, like, usually it'd be like Wanda's gonna be in Doctor Strange too. Like that's what it says usually at the end of like.
I feel like those were more when those moments and those characters being in the next movie was more up in the air. Like, whereas this is pretty set in stone. Like they kind of brought up.
Right.
So.
Even if it wasn't, I just like that they stopped doing it because I didn't like that they did that all the time. Because like I assumed, my guy.
The only one it ever made sense for was Spider-Man.
Oh, okay, but
I will give them that.
Yeah,
but Thanos will return after Infinity War was dope, and then
I kind of assumed he would. Like
that was a good
I just
choice.
kind of assumed he was gonna be there.
And then Ant-Man and the Wasp will return, and then it goes to question mark at the end after Ant-Man and the Wasp.
the question mark was a fun play on it.
Yeah. Saying the Thanos one rubs me the wrong way because it's like I feel like I knew this already.
Yeah, like we've known since 2014 he was a 2-movie villain, right?
Yeah.
You gotta think like he just bodied all the Avengers, and then they throw that in your face at the end, like
insult to injury.
Don't worry, he'll be back to beat your ass again.
Yeah, it's gonna beat the other half next time.
All right, Albob, you have some thoughts?
Yeah, so I was probably more aligned with Brett on this one, where I actually really enjoyed this episode being the finale. Like, yes, it wasn't the best episode of the season, but it was a really good episode. The part with the Vision, like how they got all philosophical on everybody, like that was a lot to take in at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Like it was like that was probably my favorite scene of the finale. Just them like neither of us are the villain or the Vision. Like
when White Vision said naturally, it wasn't supposed to be funny, but it came off so funny because he was like, no shit, like that's the way he said it. So I just really appreciated that.
It's like his version of sarcasm.
Yes.
Yeah. So with what Austin just said, with it ending emotionally the way it needed to, I'm kind of happy that I watched some of the press that's been happening with Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen leading up to it, because there's an interview she just did with Jimmy Fallon where she was like, this show is a tee up for my character, where it's like the what's next moment. And like that all makes sense now that like she's leaving this in the past, she's closing the book, and it kind of reinstated in my brain that WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be the people who are left closing the book on the Infinity Saga and tying up what loose ends are left as we go into this new. I feel like at this point, between with what's coming out about Spider-Man, what we saw at the end of the last Spider-Man movie, and the fact that Doctor Strange 2 is literally called Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, I can just say that the multiverse is where we're going next.
Pretty safe bet.
I feel like that's safe. Also, I don't know if you guys saw it, but Paul Bettany went on Good Morning America yesterday.
Oh no.
And somebody, I think it was Michael Strahan or George Stephanopoulos asked him, and he was like, now fans are joking that cameo that you teased was you fighting you. Is that true? And he was like, you know, when you say something and you think it's going to be really funny, and then the internet takes it completely seriously and runs with it, and you didn't mean them to take it that way?
Internet gonna
Would
internet.
never.
Yeah,
Would
exactly. I was
never.
like, come on, how long have you been working for Marvel that you didn't think saying that was going to make everybody go, hasn't he worked with? Who has Vision never been around? Like, who would he want to work with? Like, all that stuff. It's like, come on, my guy. Like,
That's the first time he's also ever said anything, because like I said, I just saw a montage on Reddit where every time somebody was asking him something about either Infinity War or Endgame, he was just responding with snitches end up in ditches, just over and over again.
and this is why. It's because when he tries to be funny, we all go, Doctor Strange.
Reed Richards.
So can we talk about a few things from this episode? I just have a
Yeah,
bunch
no,
of notes.
absolutely.
Okay, so boner.
Yeah,
I know out of context that means something really different, but Ralph Boner?
I'm sorry, Austin. That's a tough look for
So I was a little disappointed in that as well. But again, I still claim that Marvel would have never cast Evan Peters without knowing what they're doing with that casting. And I'm going to toss it to LeighErin because she threw me a good point.
So, I at first was pissed that he was just an actor, and then I went, oh, this doesn't mean anything. Because it's already been established in Spider-Man Far From Home that J. Jonah Jameson's, thank you, is not the same as he is in the comics. He's, you know, the head editor of the Daily Planet. Jordan, help me out here. I don't know.
Yeah, he's the head editor of the Daily
Bugle.
Bugle. And then in the Far From Home, they made it a more like
he's
Alex
like Alex Jones.
They made it a podcast thing, which is also what they did in the video game from 2018, just because, you know, newspapers are dying.
But where I'm going with...
Go ahead.
Where I was going with that is that, like, Wanda, it's basically been established by things Agatha said and things Wanda has said and just context clues from the show that and the fact that she's in Doctor Strange, she is most likely a Nexus being, which means she's the same in every universe you go to. Quicksilver isn't. Like, in the comics, we've never been given anything to be like, Quicksilver is also a Nexus being. He's not one. So it would make sense that there's a universe where he's not a Maximoff. Because if you go back and how like these multiple timelines and multiple universes work, it's that like a certain decision was different. And I was seeing somebody talk about online that like it could have just been their ancestors in this universe decided to emigrate here, and so he never ended up being a Maximoff. But in another universe, he still is. Because I think casting Evan Peters, I don't think Disney or Marvel is stupid enough to cast Evan Peters not knowing what it means.
As a joke, yeah.
That's a good point, because when it was revealed that he was Ralph, I was like, okay, but how did he get like the speed powers? Like,
I think it was the necklace.
Can Agnes really give the speed?
She charmed the necklace, because you saw Monica tear that off, and that's when he lost the powers.
Yeah,
but he was already pinned at that point.
So,
but you saw it like glowing purple, and when she pulled it off, it like stopped glowing. So
it definitely, at the very least, held the like mind control over him.
Yeah, that was yeah, that's what I thought it was, just a mind control.
So, LeighErin, are you saying that is Quicksilver from another universe that was brought here?
No, I'm just saying he's, in theory, in the multiverse in Marvel, there are 10,000 Jordans, but they're not all... I don't know why I used Jordan. I shouldn't have used him. I need someone who has actual superpowers. There are 10,000.
Get wrecked.
It's fine.
There are 10,000 of like, I don't know, Captain Marvel, like Carol Danvers.
I feel like I have an example
Sure.
where it's
Give
just
me-
like
help me out here.
where it's like there is like the multiverse is like there's a spectrum of these multiverses where it's like I'm just going to use Spider-Man because we've had a lot of live action adaptations of him. It's like, you know, Toby, Andrew, and Tom are very different but have a lot of similarities, and they're all but all three of them kind of fit the same type of Peter, which is super different than the Peter in Spider-Gwen's universe, because in that one he's like a bad dude
So
and like misunderstood.
So where is this Ralph Boner from? Is he actually a speedster at all, or is
No.
he?
No.
Okay.
He's not anything. He's just
Okay.
somebody who, in another universe, that's what Quicksilver looks like.
He's just a guy.
Just a man, especially
Oh,
because
I
they
don't
are
like it.
mutants.
I don't like it.
Or Disney made an incredibly stupid call, and if that's what they did, Kevin Feige's got to live with it. Because that I can actually blame on Kevin Feige, because the producers have to sign off on all casting.
What if he just thinks he's Ralph Boner, and that's why the name is so dumb?
There's that too, because that sounds like a fake name.
Well, isn't that like
Yeah.
a reference to some other sitcom that some of the neighbors' kid
Yeah,
was?
his last name is the same for some actor. That's at least what I heard.
I really thought that Monica was going to say Boner, and for some reason, I really thought he was going to correct her, and it was going to be pronounced like Boehner or something.
He's like, ha, Boner.
Yeah.
Got himself. Okay,
Um,
so I think that was a bad decision. I don't think I just don't know why they thought that was a good idea.
I have to see how it pays off.
I mean,
yeah,
sure, but I feel like they were like backtracked by doing that. Like they just, I don't know.
there's either going to be more payoff, or it's going to come out that Disney made a stupid choice.
Mhm.
Yep.
And like,
I agree.
we're going to have to, unfortunately, wait a year realistically to find out.
It's going to
Yeah.
be a tough year. I mean, we've had to do it before.
Do we want to move on from Ralph? Because I have a bunch of notes.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
So my next note is Mephisto? Question mark. So was he? Did he
I
have
think
any
we just gotta
involvement
let
in the show?
him. We just gotta. I think that was just fans just kind of over trying to
Yeah, but there were
look too
so
much
many
into it.
context clues.
Again, so that's something I want to say is like I feel like it's very, very easy to be like, oh, people just assumed everything was a sign. It's just like there was stuff where it's like there were some theories where it's like there's only like 5 people that believe this, and you guys are really reading into something.
Mhm.
A lot of these other stuff really felt like it was going to go places, especially because like they went other places we really thought they wouldn't. So Mephisto was just like, I believe it. Like,
So in my mind, I'll be quick. I promise. In my mind,
I-
the only Mephisto thing that makes sense now, the way they've played this out, is that where at the post credit, the last post credit, where she hears her kids, Mephisto has them, or they
I
don't
think
even
that's a
exist at all,
multiverse
or something,
thing.
and it's a ploy kind of a thing. But yeah,
Yeah, I thought when the Nat
Sorry,
showed
Brett, go ahead.
Oh, I'll be quick. When the Nat showed up, and I think it was you or Jordan said that that's like a sign, like sign or an emblem or something that connotates with like the devil. And when that showed up in her lair, I was like, okay, like is he gonna transform into like Satan or something? But then it never happened. So, but then again, like going off of comic book canon, like Mephisto could have somehow stolen the souls of the twins before the barrier came down.
go
Um,
ahead.
so, okay, with Mephisto, I said this to Jordan a couple weeks ago, that there were certain people who Kevin Smith on his podcast basically was like, they're not gonna, he was like, I love Mephisto. I'm the reason that Mephisto is a Daredevil villain and a Spider-Man villain were my comics. They're not going to introduce him in WandaVision. It's going to be a buildup because he is such a big bad in the MCU universe. And so once he said that, I was like, I want Mephisto to show up, but I have a feeling that's not going to happen because, yeah, it'd be weird to introduce such a big bad in a television show. Like, I get it.
Mhm.
But on top of that, with her hearing the boys at the end, I thought of how Jordan was saying last week, her getting to keep the kids in Multiverse of Madness, getting to see them as teenagers. Mephisto could be fucking with them in another universe and making it so that she can hear it and
Yeah.
hear them calling for help. Because in these other universes, she would, in theory, still be their mother. But, and additionally, you have America Chavez is confirmed for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So us seeing a universe in Doctor Strange that has the Young Avengers is not completely out of question. Because by that point, we'll have Miss Marvel, we'll have Kate Bishop, we have Tommy and Billy. The only one we're missing is America Chavez and Patriot, and I don't want to comment on Patriot Boy being involved because Falcon and Winter Soldier is coming, and that's more of the Captain America realm.
Yeah. It's also when she's there and she's doing the reading thing, that book she's using is like a heavy dark magic book, and I'm not sure if like she's realized that, so that might have been why Agatha was screaming like you don't know what you did.
Can I say something completely unconnected really quick?
Yeah, sure.
She's hot as fuck in that new costume. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yes.
She looks so
Yeah.
good.
The
I
design
thought she
for that
could s-
costume is great.
I
loved
thought she
it.
could
Oh.
step on me before. Oh god.
Oh
Ooh,
no!
ooh.
Oh no!
Listen, I loved the trench coat look before, but I like this like more superhero-y, comic
Mhm.
booky.
Did,
I
Totally
love
agree.
it so
was it
much.
just me, or did it remind anybody of like the X-Men like uniforms? Kind of how those looked.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
It
get
was more comic booky, which is what I liked. I also liked the way she carried herself after she was in it. Like when she went up to Agatha and was like, "I'm about to punish you." It was like she was carrying herself like she was now the queen. Like this was her true form, and that like this is the weirdest analogy I can make, but it's the only one that makes sense. And it's like at the end of Wreck-It Ralph, when like they realized that the glitch was actually the main person and they should obey her. Everybody was kind of like, "Oh fuck, like she's here." I don't know if that analogy's making sense to anyone else,
Nope.
but it's just the way she
I can
carried
kinda see it,
herself.
yeah.
And then she was like, "I'm gonna sentence you to this punishment." And I also like we didn't kill Agatha. She's
Right.
trapped as
Yeah,
Agnes
she's-
until Wanda needs her again.
I was just
Thank
gonna say
God.
she
Can we
can
talk
go
about a
back
few
and get her
things,
whenever.
including so she's trapped how? How is she trapped?
The spell is still on her.
Okay,
Yeah.
but like, where is it? Just on her permanently because the hex is gone. I didn't know if it had to be in the hex
It's
to do
on,
it.
now it's on her.
The whole
Yeah, she
hex
said-
is inside her.
No, not the whole
No.
hex, just the spell that made her
Okay.
stay
That
Agnes.
keeps her that nosy neighbor character.
Okay.
So basically,
I
we can
thought
go
it
back
had
and
something to
get
do with
her
that,
whenever.
with the hex, and I was
No.
like, the hex is
Yeah.
gone now. So
The hex was basically making that spell affect anyone within the radius. What Wanda did
Yeah.
was just use that spell on
On
Agnes.
her.
Sure, that makes
Mhm.
sense. I was just clarifying.
Yep.
And then someone earlier mentioned something about like saying goodbye to the kids, or the kids are leaving the kids. I don't know. We talked about the kids, and this popped in my head.
Yep.
So she got to say goodbye to Vision, right? And that was
Mhm.
great. It was probably the best moment of the entire finale. She just left the kids upstairs to die by themselves.
She had a good
Like, I
to
understand they
them.
kind of had their goodbyes, but like they're about to wither away, and she's just like, bye.
I feel like that's twofold. One, I feel like it's a very, I think, like fucked up. Like she didn't want to tell them what was going to happen. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, just think of the rabbits, George type of situation. Two, I still don't think that Disney wanted to show, two 10-year-olds just dying.
It's
Yeah,
all
'cause
They
here's
did-
the thing.
They did a couple scenes before. They just
That was
actually
not
did
a
it.
That one
fun
was fake.
time, though.
What do you mean
That one
one
was fake.
What do you mean that
Um,
one was fake? They withered away on the street, trying really
Okay,
bad
but
at acting.
then they came back. That's what I mean. It wasn't for
Yeah.
good. Also, I honestly legitimately thought she was about to put like a tiny hex just around the house, so like they could all
I
live
thought
inside
they
the
were
house.
too.
I thought they
feel
were
like-
going to do that too. Yeah.
I feel like it's one of those things you just assume she thought about. She's like, could I make that work? And then she's like,
That's
screw it.
that's also a weird torture where it's like they're not allowed to exist outside of this house.
Yeah.
I think
Right.
it's also
Grounded.
that's awful to her.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like she would never be able to let go of it. Sorry, Brett.
What?
Oh, wait, you said something.
Oh man, what was I
Take it
gonna
away.
say? I can't remember. But
I really
Uh,
liked.
I'll just talk about my favorite part of the entire episode was the runes on the walls, because I'm a huge
Yes.
anime fan, and that was anime as fuck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
'cause
it was.
I didn't realize that she was missing on purpose.
Oh no, I knew she had to be doing something along those lines. Did I know it was the runes that she saw one time and somehow memorized already? No, I didn't.
The Scarlet Witch powers.
I mean, I
Yeah.
guess.
She
But
doesn't
I
need to
guess-
practice any of this shit.
I was gonna say it's that classic trope of like you don't see someone die on screen, so that means they're not like they can come back.
It just seemed far fetched a little bit to me that she's like, oh, I know these runes by heart now. And it's like, okay.
I mean, could just be photographic memory. I mean, it's not like it's the most complex things.
I mean, I don't know, if someone showed you a rune right now and you got to look at it for a good, I don't know, minute, and then you had to redraw it by memory, like
So
at least a half hour later,
I
I
just
don't know if you
related
could
to
do that.
something like when I played through God of War and you have the runes to open the caskets. I have no idea what those things are called. I called them an R, an N, and a W because that's what they looked like to me.
Oh, totally, yeah, and I'm picking at straws here, but yeah, I just thought it was a little far-fetched to me, but still dope as shit.
That's what they looked like. 1, 2.
All right,
Oh my
so
God.
LeighErin's the Scarlet
2.
Witch, confirmed.
Can we talk about the final fight
What?
between Agnes or Agatha and Wanda?
No.
Like, okay.
Yes.
Okay,
Sorry.
So she was able to absorb Wanda's powers a little bit, as shown with the witches in Salem like 400 years ago. And then she like couldn't handle the power, and Wanda was able to just come back normally, like because she was starting to get a little withered there, and then everything just turned out fine, unless I completely
It was
missed
the
something.
runes.
I kind
It
of took
was
it as she was acting.
Yeah.
Okay.
She
was
was
pretending.
letting a certain amount of power get taken away from her just so they could get up to where the runes were and then be like, haha, I was faking all
Big
along.
reveal.
Speaking of those witches, them getting off the ground dead was the scariest thing I've ever fucking seen in my life.
There's
honestly, I feel like that's what Doctor Strange 2 is going to be.
And
They
I'm
did-
ready.
And they did the Ultron mindfuck thing again. That was so
That was
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, they
Yes.
brought it back where
How she like sped up
Like
behind
the
her.
grudge,
That was
grudge, like
creepy.
yeah, the speed up thing and then the same hand gesture.
Yeah, there was literally a shot when she went back and those witches were there where it was just like a deadpan for one of the witches with the hood up, and I was like, oh, like she's just like, and I'm like, nope, keep going.
They
See,
Go.
that's
They
the
started
thing that
going like this, and I was like, no,
see, that's the
no.
thing that
There's
freaks
one
me out
shot
though.
where it's just her in a hood, and I'm like, nope.
See, that's the-
and
Thriller.
I hate it. I hate it.
How
Sorry, I cut
I
off.
was,
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that's the one thing I'm kind of freaked out about because I'm not a fan of horror, and they didn't call WandaVision a horror, and they are calling Doctor Strange 2 a
Doctor
horror
Strange.
movie.
Well,
You can do a watch along. I'll hold your hand virtually.
another thing that people have picked up on is when she's reading the book, the music playing is basically the Doctor Strange theme, just in a minor tone.
Yep.
And this part I read, I don't know how true it is, but they're saying that shot of when she went, there you see the nature and you go into her one. I thought that she
Looked
put the
awful.
hex there and then was living in the middle of bumfuck nowhere with her family. But apparently, those shots, a lot of people were saying, are very similar to how the Evil Dead movies were shot. So that maybe like either Sam Raimi did that one scene, or that's a clip out of Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness.
yeah, well,
expected-
was she
I
just flexing with like the extra Wanda making the tea?
No, I think it's like she learned how to do her astral form the way Strange did.
Yeah, she's doing an astral form, so she's one practicing that,
Astral
and
projection,
two,
yeah.
I think that's also kind of like a cover. Like if anyone is to come apart, like it's just gonna be some crazy lady out on her lawn, like she's inside.
So
fucking
sorry.
Studying.
Something's about to catch my shelves on fire. I'll be right back.
Okay,
Oh.
bye. Don't burn
Okay.
to death. Now that screwed up my memory of what I was gonna say next. I don't know what I was gonna say.
But I was
Oh,
just gonna say,
I-
Make sure
okay,
he
go ahead.
survives.
I have one sentence. I expected Vision to come around the corner when they started panning into that scene. Like I expected Vision to just be there cooking or something.
Like
Yeah, no-
anti-vision, like the white one.
I'm so sorry.
Whatever she
No, you're
wanted,
good.
like whatever vision she wanted, honestly. But so it'd be her vision. So definitely not White Vision, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah.
White
So-
Vision's still out there, we presume.
That's
Yes.
another thing I wanted to talk about. Is he?
Yes.
Because
Oh, but quick,
I watched
before
the
we move on to
Go
that,
ahead.
I just want to quick say that shot when they're going over the water to the cabin, I thought that looked awful. I don't know, something
that's
about
what-
it.
That's what LeighErin was just saying, is that's in the style of like Cabin in the Woods kind of horror
But no,
movies,
like
right?
there was something about it. Like I don't know if it was like something digital or if it was the drone that was just not the best camera quality. Something just looked.
It's art,
off.
man. It's art.
Wouldn't be surprised if it is actually a scene from Doctor Strange 2. It may be just probably unfinished, and they're just like, it's good enough for a mid-credit scene.
I do know what you're saying though. It was a little.
some of the
rickety.
effects in this one I wasn't blown away by. Like there was a few shots of the Vision v Vision fight
Mhm.
that didn't look great. It kind of looked like an old CG movie or something. But
Yeah, when a lot of when they were phasing through each other, it was like it's CGI on top of CGI, and when you have 2 layers of CGI, they start to look real fucking weird. Um,
I did want to talk about White Vision. White Vision, though, or okay, can we not call it White Vision? What?
Anti-vision.
Anti-Vision.
Someone I
Anti-vision.
heard someone say like spectral vision or something. I don't know.
Caucasian vision.
Oh my god.
Conditional vision.
Conditional vision. That's a good one. I like
There we
that.
go.
You could call him cataracts.
So I don't remember if it was kind of funny or if it was someone else, but so because I had this a little bit of my own too. I know it won't be the Vision because like clearly it's not the same. Like it is.
Mhm.
So because is that the body of the old Vision though? Did they
I think
use
so,
the old
yeah.
body?
That's the old
Okay.
Vision body.
And when Hex Vision, like, did he just unlock memories or did he implant those memories? Because to me, it looked like he unlocked them.
He said
said
you
it,
have
yeah.
the data, and
Yeah.
then he's just
They just
giving
blocked it for him,
contextual memories and emotions, I'm assuming, regarding those data points that
So
Anti-Vision had.
are you assuming the emotions there? Because I'm not convinced
Not
the
the
emotions there.
emotions,
I'm
no,
assuming
just-
it's literally just the data, which is why he has the memories and the body of Vision, but the heart isn't there. Kind of
I
thing.
think he knows those things. Like, I think Vision knows that he was created originally to be Ultron's body, and he's the one who killed Ultron, and he fought at an airport in Germany one time. But he knows all that, I feel like, as though he just read every newspaper article and Wikipedia article on Vision, the celebrity, because the Avengers are basically celebrities.
Right. So it's more
Hex Vision was
it's
like, no,
literally
these are your memories.
so yeah, but he sees it as literally just data rather than memories.
Mhm.
I was just saying that because, like, I guarantee you, whenever he shows up again, he's going to be more human. Like that would be
More, I would say more human, but isn't God? What do they call him in the comics? What do they call this Vision in the comics?
and Anti-Vision.
Okay, just be clear. I don't want to keep calling it White Vision. This is dumb. So, Anti-Vision in the comics, doesn't he kind of always remain monotone? Or does
which
he
he doesn't at the
eventually
end.
become like full on human again? Yeah, LeighErin, please educate
Okay.
me, please.
So
think
what
it's
I think
cool.
is happening with it is I don't know if any of you watch Star Trek, but there is an entire episode of
Little
the
bit,
original Star
little bit.
Trek where Data, who's like a very, very much like Vision, they're very similar characters, is given an emotion chip. And it shuts him down and he loses his fucking mind. And he's like, you have to take this out of me. I can't do this.
So
I
it's like
think
gum.
Yeah. I think what Anti-Vision is going to end up being is it's like if you told a child somebody's entire life story, they can empathize with the emotion, they can feel those emotions, but those memories aren't theirs. They're not something it can elicit emotion, but it's not going to necessarily become that. They're not going to become that person because they have all these memories. Or the same thing that if you read like somebody's memoir, you have these memories that are theirs, these stories that are theirs, but you're not that person. And I think that's where it's going to be, and that he unlocked them because they were all in the computer, but they needed a sentient weapon that would listen to orders and be a soldier. And
Mhm.
incidentally, emotional people aren't good soldiers, Captain America. So you get into that whole aspect of it. So I think when he comes back, he'll have all that information to pull on, but he's not going to have the love for all of the Avengers that he had before.
I feel like even if Hex Vision implanted the actual feelings into Anti-Vision, he might be Vision up to the point of Infinity War, but because those emotions were inputted him artificially, I feel like he's never going to create new emotions, if that makes sense, or new attachments. And I feel like that was the key to Vision, was the Mind Stone, was kind of gave him that human touch.
Mhm.
Which, goddamn, how did none of us call? Oh, Wanda is part of the part of the Mind Stone is in Wanda. Wanda is the Mind Stone part of them.
talked
How
about
did
that
none
last
of us
week.
put together that that's how she fucking created this idiot?
I thought that's what we talked about last week, though, because I feel like
Yeah, we
somebody
said
mentioned
something
that.
about.
Did we?
Al, I think Al said it because we saw him turning yellow, and I feel like Al pointed it out, to be honest.
I think it was more
Then
along
I'm
the
just
lines.
That's
of,
probably
like,
why I remember it. 'Cause
it's the same color as the Mind Stone, and that we never made like that connection as like she had part of the Mind Stone in her or whatever. But yeah, it was
well, not that
it
she
was
has part of it.
directly
But she
involved.
is part of the Mind Stone.
Yeah. It was directly
Because-
involved in some way. We kind of made that connection.
Mhm. But that was cool how like she knows about that though. Like she literally said, like told him how she created him.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I thought that was a really cool
Also,
explanation at the end.
real quick, when the final scene where they're having this heart to heart. There's a moment where she said, "You are my son," and I took it the wrong way for a second, and I was like, "Oh no, what do you what?"
Is that Jordan and my fault because we talked about Quicksilver and Wanda boning?
I can blame you if you want.
No, I just wasn't sure because anytime Wanda has any sort of relationship with anyone ever, we're like, are they family? Like, that's just like a running joke with us, so I didn't know if we ruined somebody else.
I verbally during that scene, I verbally went, "Wait, what?" And then I'm like, "Oh, son, right, got it." And I went, "Whoo."
UN, not ON.
Can we talk about how like they called it out with Agatha saying, you have magic that the Sorcerer Supreme can never have, and
Right.
basically you are more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme.
That's why he needs her.
Like I'm
So
so
that's-
excited.
I was just gonna say, part of me thought that that final end credit scene was gonna be her like going to him to be like, hey, help me learn more of this magic stuff.
Doesn't need him.
I think
Apparently.
he comes to her. I think he comes to her.
I think
think
that's
he
going to be
has
the
to.
opening.
Yeah, he has to find her because she's screwing shit up in the multiverse looking for her kids.
So
I still
go ahead, Brett.
Oh, I was gonna say I still think, just in terms of the character differences, like Strange is much more driven and much more like trying to think of like the personality type. Like if Wanda would join that magic school, like I don't think she would have progressed as fast as Strange did. So I still think there's some value that Wanda can get from going to Strange and getting help.
I completely agree. I just don't
It's
think
not
she
full on
wants help.
like lesson,
And I
but
think that-
just pointers. That's kind of my
Yeah.
thought.
Well, I also think that while her magic may be more powerful than Strange's magic, Strange has better control and is therefore the better magician or wizard, on whatever you want to call him.
Sorcerer.
Sorcerer, yeah. So I feel like he's the better one in terms of like, because he has the control. And I assume, okay, if Wanda has more than him, he's like what, second place?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like I think he's gonna realize what happened, go up there and be like, "Yeah, your mess. You're gonna help me clean it up." Also, because I can't clean it up.
I think it's either going to be that or in the opening of Doctor Strange 2, Wanda's just going to have heard those voices and it's going to be like, all right, I can't do this alone. Like I need somebody
Yeah.
who knows what they're talking about, and like we're gonna see Agatha and Strange and Wanda all together. Yeah.
Wait, you brought up Agatha?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can totally see there being a moment where they're like, "We need one more. We can't do this with the two of us." And she's like, "I know a gal," and then here it comes.
I also think what Agatha is talking about. This is an out there theory, and I'm prefacing this with that. She might have released the God of Chaos. Because in the comics, he is held in a mountain by a spell done by the Salem Seven.
Who's
and
that?
The God of Chaos, Chitari, something like that.
I'm sorry, I asked. Sounds like a pasta.
It does. It sounds like a pasta.
Rigatoni, penne,
I had that last night.
ciottini.
Tastes good.
It's but yeah, and I think when Agatha was like, "You have no idea what you've done," that Wanda taking full control of all of her powers and all that kind of stuff, she may have released him unintentionally, and that
Does he play a major role in the comics, or is he? Does he? Okay.
he
Is he like Eternal level or no?
No, he's
Okay.
not like Eternal level. He's like if Loki and Dormammu
Yes.
had like a child.
Okay.
That
I mean,
out of chaos, and he is the source for chaos magic.
It's possible. Loki's had a child with a horse, so you know.
I was just say I love the visual here. Dormammu, Loki, a nice movie night. I'm in.
He got railed.
Dormammu, I've come to bang.
Hey,
It's about time.
in the comics, he gets railed by a stallion. So I mean, it wouldn't be the weirdest thing. That is a fact.
Comic. Not just the comics. It's
wait,
also
wait,
in Norse mythology.
Yeah.
Loki got railed by a stallion?
Okay,
Because
so
he was
he
was a female horse.
You know how in
Alba, you okay?
Thor
I don't
1
know.
when Odin comes down on the like 8-legged horse, that's because Loki, to try and stop somebody from being able to build a wall, and Loki would have been killed if the guy had succeeded. He transformed himself into a mare in heat and ran past the guy's stallion. And it worked. The stallion followed him and the guy didn't finish the wall. The problem is the horse had sex with Loki, and then Loki gave birth to an 8-legged horse and gave it to Odin.
Okay,
And that's canon in the comics.
you guys introduced me to the Maximoff siblings doing stuff together, and I didn't like that. And
I
now
think
you
another clip
introduced me to
for this
Loki,
episode.
Loki horse porn.
Yeah.
Again, to be
All
fair,
right.
the Maximoffs or whoever was sitting in Marvel's writer room, they're to blame. Loki Horse
Comics are-
Story. Loki Horse Story goes back to Norse mythology.
Comics are great, but they're also terrible, apparently. So,
Wait, does that make the horse Odin's grandson?
well, isn't
Yeah.
Loki adopted?
We can't forget too, just and
Fair
this is
enough.
all, it's all completely random and maybe it's for the best, but we also have like the Internals movie and like Shang-Chi coming out. So
Ooh, Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for Shang-Chi. I don't know anything about that character. That's why I like so much.
yeah, that's why I'm excited too. So those could like we're all just being like, you know, Doctor Strange 2 and whatever, and it's like, well, there's other stuff that I mean it's all connected, so those can play a role in
Mm-hmm.
some of these events.
And like the Eternals are affected by all this stuff. Like
Oh yeah.
they have whole things with the multiverse, and I know nothing about Shang-Chi, so I can't.
That's why I'm so excited. Like I have no
Shang-Chi-
expectations. I'm just like, blow me away. Let's do it.
Shang-Chi so far has been like the one superhero that like when Marvel's raced to the bottom of the barrel, I have not seen anybody fake being like, you guys don't know. Like I feel like we're like, no, fuck it, I don't know who this guy is. I feel like when they reached
Last
like when
time
they
this
did
happened with Guardians, and so
that's what I was gonna say,
this
but with Guardians, I feel like you had comic nerds being like, actually, that's not even the original Guardians team, you know, blah blah blah. And it's like with
Yeah.
Shang-Chi, the first time people went, nah, fuck it.
I've heard of Rocket Raccoon. I've heard of Groot. I've heard of Star-Lord. I had never heard of Drax. I had never heard of Gamora. But Guardians of the Galaxy was great. It came out of nowhere and I loved it. So I have to leave in like 12 minutes. So there are 2 more notes I just want to get out of the way real quick.
Yeah.
Hit him.
So the people of Westview, like I know they kind of bombarded her with like, let us go, blah blah blah, but they really just kind of let her off the hook, right? And Monica kind of did the same.
I feel like they were really scared.
What is Monica gonna do? Like,
I mean, I
what-
know, but also no. Hear me out. Monica just found out. Not just found out, but for the most part, just found out she's super powered. Like she is a super powered being now. I know
She stopped bullets.
yeah, I don't think she would back down from Scarlet Witch right away. Just saying.
The
Okay, she was like 50 feet away from the kids, and then like it cut, and she's like in front of the guns.
Right. I noticed that too.
Sorry, go ahead.
But during that scene where it was at the end, and she has her hood up, and she's walking kind of through the people that she just
like an
kinda
emo
fucked-
teenager, yeah.
kind of fucked
Mhm.
over. I don't know if it was then or before when they were all. I think it was then, but in my mind, I remembered the scene from the first Spider-Man movie, the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie, where like the city of New York helped Peter Parker with Green Goblin.
Yeah,
I
they
thought
bring
we-
in all the things.
I thought we were gonna get a scene kind of similar to that, where they're like, "It's okay, we forgive you." Blah blah. I'm glad they didn't.
I thought you were about to say those scenes were the same. I'd be like, how are those anyway the same?
I just thought it was gonna be something similar, where like you get a lot of like side character, not even side character, but like citizens, like kind of like teaming up to be like, "We forgive you," and like kind of like the train scene too in the
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire thing.
When Dottie was like just pleading for Wanda to put her
Yeah.
daughter into the storyline, that hit me. I don't know why.
I love
Oh,
how
yeah.
when they come up to her, I always expect them to be like pissed and be like, "You need to let me go right now." Like I don't blah blah blah, and they're always just like, "Please." Like it always shocked me, even though
Torture.
I should
They
exactly.
that's the
I
thing.
should
mean,
expect
they're
it, but I don't.
I mean, Herb seemed pissed.
Yeah, I know,
Herb
but
was well. That was also when
most of
Agatha
them were just like asking for like, just let me go.
when Agatha like unleashed them, they started to become angry. But
That's
when it was
true.
one
That's
at a
true.
time, they were all just like, please, like have mercy on us.
That's a good point.
Also, I saw one thing where it's like, if they ever want, like, you know, assuming the X-Men are going to come to the MCU at some point, the senator that's always against the X-Men, it would make a lot of sense if he's from Westview.
Oh yeah.
If like this is, what was that?
In the same vein, I think before they forgive Wanda, before they're angry at Wanda, they need some therapy for the Stockholm syndrome that they might be going through.
Yeah.
Just Men in Black them. Just Men in Black them.
or that, like just something
Let's also
to
keep in mind, this is 3 weeks after the blip, so you have to assume some of these people were blipped. Some of them had their loved ones blipped and moved on for 5 years, and now they're back. Like, the whole world has been scarred, and now Westview just has, like, a little extra scar icing.
Whoever is in charge of like helping these people after the blip, they're just like, oh, there was a town that got mind controlled for a few weeks, and they're like, what's next? I don't even whatever. Who cares?
It's like
fuck
Eh.
out.
it's like every Marvel movie where you see like some guy's car just get destroyed by like the Hulk or something. You're like, well, like
Sorry, buddy.
Like
Yeah.
suck, dude.
One more thing, that way I can get it out before I have to go. Can we talk about Monica and how dope of a character she is? Because I don't really know
yeah.
her character that much, but
So excited.
I think I think honestly the thing they did best, besides the emotional like closure for Vision and Scarlet Witch, was Monica's character. Because I think I think in my personal opinion, I think they built her up perfectly. Like it was basically what you would get throughout a string of movies, like this character being created in a TV show. I understand it was kind of forced and rushed, but I thought they did well with what they had.
Yes, although they just kind of sidelined her the last couple episodes. They just kind of like, hey,
Yeah,
threw you in this room. It's like you
I think
you
that's
could
because
definitely
she's
help
gonna have
out.
she's gonna have a way bigger role soon. I think that's why.
Do we think that the
And this
tease
and the show wasn't about her, to be fair.
No, yeah,
True,
I was gonna say,
true.
but do we think that the tease at the end with the Skrull and Nick Fury, do you think that's for Captain Marvel 2 or if that's for Secret Wars?
It's
It
for
could
Captain
be-
Marvel too. She's not confirmed
Yeah.
for Secret Wars yet.
Oh,
yeah, it
okay.
could- yeah.
Yeah, because and plus
Eh,
she did like point up to for
I really thought it was just gonna be Nick Fury in the theater because Far From Home takes place 8 months after, so I'm like, oh, he hasn't went to space yet.
No, they say he went in Far From Home. They say he went to space literally right after the blip.
He went from Tony's funeral to like a rocket ship. Everyone's going to their cars, and he's just like,
Bye, bitch.
So
he probably has a teleporter
Spacesuit.
that can just teleport back to the ship.
So and
Sorry.
yeah, with Spider-Man 3, that's No Way Home, right?
no
And
way home.
so,
Correct.
And so
But-
could that be in space too or something? Like, I mean,
I assume that's the multiverse stuff, but
Well,
Yeah.
that and
Yeah.
just being a runaway because he can't go back to his house because everybody knows he's Peter
Yeah,
Parker.
that's what
now.
I said. It works. It works both ways.
yeah.
totally. So, okay, I'm gonna backpedal a little bit. We're bringing up a lot of Young Avengers stuff. Like we've talked about that, not just on this episode. We talked about it on previous
Mhm.
episodes as well. Isn't there a line? This is, I think, the literally only one I know of Young Avengers, which is weird. Where where Anti-Vision is kind of like their little mentor, and they're like the voice in their heads. Because I swear to God, I've seen a cartoon, I've seen a comic line where this was a thing. Where
I
like
don't know.
Anti-Vision was kind of like he headed a compound with the Young Avengers or something like that. Maybe it wasn't the Young Avengers. Maybe it was a different group.
I couldn't tell.
Are you thinking of Red Tornado in Young Justice?
No.
Okay, just making sure.
Here's the problem. I want to say that Austin is correct, but I don't remember if that's because I'm confusing it with Young Justice having Red Tornado, and in the comics, the Young Justice and Teen Titans having Martian Manhunter.
Mm.
Well,
And so I don't know.
Well,
There's
here's
al-
the thing. I don't know shit about DC, and I wouldn't watch DC, and I wouldn't read DC. So I doubt it's that.
no,
But
I was just like, however, there is like a video that's been going on around Facebook lately. Like, if you follow Marvel's official pages of like Vision's family tree, and one of the things they explain is like at some point when like Vision and Wanda split, Vision built his own family, like more synthoids, and like
Mhm.
his daughter is like a teenager, and she joins a version of. She joins a teenage team, but they're not called the Young Avengers. I think they're called like the Champions or something. And he's her mentor and like keeps talking to her, but he's not Anti-Vision. And then she looks like she's like him. She's like purple and greenish.
okay, maybe that is what I'm thinking of. I don't know. I don't know. I swear there was like a comic line, but like not a recent comic, like a modern comic line, but not necessarily recent. Does that make sense?
I feel
I'm
like
trying to look. I'm trying to look quickly.
Like
Well,
the
and-
pages in my mind aren't like old school. Like Iron Man looks like a tin can.
Well, and yeah, because Anti-Vision, I'm pretty sure in the comics, with like and that's why I kind of was saying like with the memories and stuff that he has now, or whatever data points expanded, all that, like then he's starting to look for a life like outside of just like being an Avenger, because
Yeah.
even though he in Ultron and on he was created and he had his own agency, he still kind of was like just listening to Tony Stark and hanging around the Avengers facility. So I think this new the Anti-Vision's definitely gonna have more agency and not just join up with whatever
Right.
new
I
Avengers.
don't, I don't think it would happen right away, but it's one of the most appealing things that came out of the show is that he's just gone now. Like he just exists now. Like
I
that's cool.
thought he accepted himself to be the true Vision and realized that that was his mission and went off to kill himself. As horrible as that sounds, or destroy himself.
That's the two possibilities.
I thought he was like gonna fly into the sun, and then they didn't give us closure.
I really think that if they would have done that, they would have shown it.
Yeah,
Well, that's the thing. They left it open for a reason. So now we're just waiting for.
Yeah. LeighErin, before Austin leaves, tell us what you found.
Yeah.
What Austin is thinking of is Anti-Vision is part of the New Avengers and the West Coast Avengers, and there is a lot of overlap between New Avengers, Young Avengers, and West Coast Avengers. So I think that's what you're thinking of. Is that Anti-Vision does fight with them.
Okay. Yeah, that's what's in my head. I don't know where it came from, but it's there.
And Kate Bishop is on New Avengers and West Coast Avengers and Young Avengers, and so is America Chavez and Iron Lad. So there's just a lot of overlap.
Cool. Yep. It was in the brain bank somewhere. I didn't know why, but it was there.
Just you got it.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Well, I mean, before we go do we have any more thoughts, or should we wrap up?
I have 2 comments, and they're just about lines that I thought were fun and very cute.
Go ahead.
The Incredibles moment where it pans in on the family all together, and Vision goes,
kids,
kids, we have not prepared you for this.
Yeah.
You're born for it.
Fight the military.
Yeah. Wanda
take care of the military. No, take care of the
military. I'll be right back.
Hey, you 2 10-year-olds? Yeah, these guys, the military, take care of them. That'll be easy for you.
Yeah.
And
That's true.
Was it Wicket just like froze them and then Speed just
without? That's true. Without Monica though, they'd be dead. well, maybe.
that was the other line that I loved is when Monica runs in front and does the whole phasing so the bullets go through and just fall. And
Powers.
He goes cool. She goes cool powers to Wiccan, and Wiccan goes, I liked yours too. I was like, this child is so sweet.
Yeah,
I just protect him.
I saw a Reddit comment that was like, Hayward, Wanda Maximoff is a Vision. Wayward 4 episodes later, I'm gonna shoot some kids.
Yeah.
Can we laugh at Hayward and just take in L after L?
Yeah, just got
hit Darcy ramming into him.
What a dummy, man.
I feel like he really was just a plot like
he was a red herring.
He was a distraction the entire time, and he achieves nothing. He's just an asshole for asshole's sake. It seems like.
And they kind of voiced this in that episode itself when Jimmy Woo was like, "Dude, you're like kind of like going off the wall here with like Anti-Vision and like." It's like, yeah, like, dude, there's like hundreds of people. You don't think no one's gonna like eventually like say something to somebody else?
I have one more closing thing, and then I'll promise. I'm sorry, LeighErin. You brought up Woo. So the kind of funny thing people brought up something that I also saw where when Woo grabs the phone, there are like 30 people standing behind him, and it vibrates, and everyone's just like. And no one, did you hear me whistle? I don't know if that got picked up.
No, not at all.
But I whistle. Insert whistle. Got to do that in the edit. Do that all about insert a whistle. But yeah, no one sees it. No one sees it vibrate or him pick it up or nothing.
The flourish to himself.
Oh yeah.
and more Magic University, online Magic University.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just to train Wanda.
Breaking out of there.
Jimmy Woo, he's good at magic.
Or maybe it's just they all were like, nah, Jimmy Woo's right. Hayward's gotten a little weird lately, so I'm just gonna let him take it. Like, go ahead. I'm pretending I'm not seeing this.
But yeah, that seemed all far fetched to me. A lot of this episode seemed far fetched, but I can let it go because like it's MCU, it's magical, it's great. But I do have to go, so I am gonna check out of here. You guys wrap up the show. You're gonna do well. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye. I'm leaving.
Bye, Austin.
Bye,
See ya. Bye. Bye.
With what Austin just said with fucking Hayward being nothing, I don't know if he's not nothing yet because we have Armor Wars and Secret Wars coming. And I feel like there's a lot of shit with Shield we don't know yet that we might be finding out later
Mhm.
on.
Yeah.
Because the Skrulls are obviously in Sword somehow. If one of them, Nick Fury, I don't think has contact with every single Skrull in existence. And so I think we're going to get more payoff to Sword and what Hayward was and all that kind of stuff. And that it's the same thing where I think that it was setting up stuff, and
Yeah.
that some cast members got a little excited in interviews, and then everybody
Mhm.
else it's been so long since we had a setup that I think that that's why I was a little disappointed. Is like, yeah, this was my fault. I expected something more than what this was ever going to be.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that I'm gonna go into Falcon and Winter Soldier with the same mindset of like, this is tying up loose ends and projecting us forward. I'm not gonna expect, anything
Honest-
crazy.
Say
Yeah.
for me, I'm kind of going into Falcon and Winter Soldier more. Just give me some good old MCU stuff. Like we had the cool weird stuff for WandaVision. Just give me some good old MCU
Give me some shooty punchy.
and some
Yeah,
funny vibes. Because
with Falcon Winter Soldier, do we know? And I might have asked this before, but like, what extent the Russo brothers have with this series?
I have not heard.
Actually,
Because
yeah, that I haven't heard that anywhere. So
I'm assuming they're like producers, but they're like the kind of producers where they're just like, yeah, they
Not
look at the
credited
script, they're
kind
like,
of thing.
they're
no,
no, they're
but like,
credit, like they look at it like, oh, cool, yeah, it looks good, go ahead,
yeah, but
kind of
like I
thing.
didn't even consider that. Like we've never seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier written by anybody else but the Russo's movies. So
That's
this
true.
could be very
And
interesting.
and LeiErin, you might know
Well,
whoever the
technically, that would be Marcus
whoever,
and McFeely.
yeah, whoever the writers are with all the Russo brothers stuff.
So it's Falcon and Winter Soldier. Obviously, Wikipedia doesn't list all the producers, but
Mhm.
they're not listed as executive producing. It's being directed by Kari Skolling. I'm not pronouncing that name right, but who directs a lot of like indie movies and television. She's directed a ton of The Handmaids. She directed some of The Punisher, House of
Ooh.
Cards, Walking Dead, Viking, Boardwalk Empire. Yeah, so she does a lot of indie films and then a lot of television. And
Because,
go ahead.
oh, I was just saying, looking forward to the Falcon Winter Soldier. With and it's more Winter Soldier on, but all the Cap stuff, the like the visceral action and stuff like that, I really enjoyed. So I'm just excited for more of that with Falcon and Winter Soldier. So
And then the showrunner, um, Malcolm Spellman, who's the showrunner, is the head writer, but he's not the only. It's a team of 7.
Mm.
It's not.
Are Marcus and McFeely back?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
It's the guy who wrote John Wick.
Ooh.
Derek Kolstad is on the writing team, and begins after Avengers.
I'd
Just give
say
me the
the
rest of
John
the
Wick
writing
writer
team.
is very fascinating because they do lore in those movies so well. So
Mhm.
in world building. So
yeah.
if they're on, I'm excited. That makes me really excited now.
So Matt Shackman, the director for WandaVision,
Mhm.
like this is his first like big directing gig,
And he
right? Like
directed
Yeah.
all of the episodes too. Which
he
is
had
odd
directed
for
like
television.
commercials and stuff before this, right? So this was like his first like
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
show. Yeah,
And
he did fantastic.
yeah, especially because like he directed like you were just saying, he directed every episode,
Mhm.
and that's almost unheard of in television.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Like
wonder if that's just because this is a mini series. They were like, "This is your, no pun intended, vision." But like with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because it's like, I mean, that one's a mini series as well, isn't it?
It's
I
shorter
believe
too.
so,
It's like
yeah.
only 6, right?
yeah, it's
Okay,
6. Yeah.
Which could
so
be
maybe
9
like,
now that
yeah, maybe it'll be 9. Maybe it's like Loki will have different directors for episodes, and that because that one has the ability or has the opportunity to go into a second season and become a recurring show.
Yeah, Loki already got picked up for 2 seasons, right?
Okay.
Speaking
And
of a,
Falcon.
oh, I was gonna say, speaking of a second season, I heard some cool speculation that saying that if by chance WandaVision did get picked up for a second season, it would drop all the sitcom-y stuff, but it would be a cool like character piece of anti-vision and like trying to deal with the humanity and having somebody else's memories.
Mhm.
Interesting.
So Loki, we only know who the head writer is and who the director of the first episode is.
Okay.
Um,
That's more rotating chairs kind of thing then.
yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Loki has more of a rotating chair kind of thing, and they
Mhm.
just have the same. Obviously, they'd have the same writing team,
Because
which
they're
is
jumping all over time and space for that.
yeah, and
So
the guy who's writing Loki writes for Rick and Morty and is writing wrote Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Ooh,
So he's good with time travel shit.
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, he's written on Rick and
and just messed
Morty a
up
couple of
stuff.
times, and then Loki and Doctor Strange.
I'm Pickle Loki.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic going forward.
Same.
Then we got May 7th is Black Widow.
Who knows?
Gotta
Just release it
fold,
on
they
Disney
have
Plus.
to
They
fold.
have to. They have
Just having a
to.
dick
They
measuring contest with Warner Brothers.
because
That's
they
all it
know.
is.
I was talking with Josh about that the other day. I'm like, they know, and this is all before COVID. Like pre-COVID, that Black Widow could have hit like $1 billion, and
Oh,
they're holding
easily.
on for that billion. So
But Florence Pugh is gonna be in fucking Falcon and Winter Soldier. You're about to spoil your own content because you won't fold.
Yeah.
You
and
won't fold, so you're
They
about to
have to
spoil
release
your
it on
own
May 7th.
fucking
They have
content.
to.
It's like you guys see how thirsty people are for MCU content right now.
there-
Charge $30 for it. Like people are gonna buy it because it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
especially it's like
Especially-
MCU is like the biggest movie franchise currently. It's like you're gonna have households that want to watch it more so.
here's
And-
why.
Go ahead, Brett.
Oh, here's why I think they're going to hold out is because they have the rest of the year filled out with MCU, Disney Plus stuff. So they have that fill for people who need the latest, escapade, and
Mhm.
they can push Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, all of that down the line as long as they want because they know and dude, are you kidding me? When theaters open up and we're all having a good time getting
All
extra large
vaccinated.
popcorn.
Yeah, but they can't.
Extra large popcorn for $20.
If-
Everyone's gonna go see Black Widow.
Honestly, at this point, I think it's like if it looks really bad by the time Black Widow's supposed to release, and they fold and they put on Disney Plus, I would also go ahead and assume that they're like the other movies coming out for like the next year are also going to be on Disney Plus because they can't hold back everything.
They're not gonna. I guarantee you, what's gonna happen is they're gonna fold in about a month. They're gonna be like, "Fuck it, we're releasing Black Widow on Disney Plus." Because if they push their dates back, they're going to lose more money than they already have. Because there are Shang-Chi will not make money if you don't release it in the summer. You won't. If you release it at any other time in the year, you're not going to make money. Because there are going to be Marvel fans. I hate to say this, but Marvel's got some racists in its fandom. There are people that already are not going to go see that movie because they don't want to see an Asian character as the lead. So you have that. Then you have people that are like, I don't know who this man is. I don't want to spend $15 and go sit in a crowded theater where I could possibly get a deadly virus, because we're coming off of a pandemic. To watch this character I don't know. I'll just wait a couple months till it's on Disney Plus. Like, you can't push it to a November release. Just give in and fold because you have so many projects coming out that have a character from Black Widow in it as the Black Widow, but we don't see any of that lead up. Like, you can't do that. You already fucked yourself. Just give up.
Yeah.
Just like let it die. People will pay the 30 fucking bucks. Like,
I'd pay
What
more.
if-
I'll be honest. I'd pay more.
and
What
it's
if-
$30 an account, not a
Yes.
profile.
So
Yeah.
I told Josh Jordan, I was like, I'll pay $100 and I'll make sure nobody else is looking at my TV. Nobody else is, let them earn their money.
what if I just had this thought before, so they don't spoil Falcon and Winter Soldier? What if they stealth drop it next Friday?
No way.
That'd be the ballsiest move I'd ever seen, but I never expect. I would never.
I know. I was just one of those like crazy thoughts I just
Yeah.
had, just being like, hey, just so we don't spoil.
That's a good.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say that's a good point with the summer release date for Shang-Chi. I didn't consider that.
Mhm.
It's just there are so many big timing releases because if they push Marvel, they fuck their entire thing for Star Wars next year.
Oh yeah.
Because at Investors Day, they were talking about how it's going to be on, off, on, off, on, off for Marvel and Star Wars, switching back and forth. So if they push this, they're going to be pushing Star Wars too.
Yeah.
And then they're just sitting on their hands, and then it's even longer. And they have those buffer release dates in 2023, but people are going to lose their fucking minds if Doctor Strange gets pushed to 2023.
Yeah,
Like,
because
Although Captain Marvel,
this was supposed to be this episode that we were just discussing was supposed to come out a week before Doctor Strange, too, and like it was gonna go right into it,
really?
and now. Yeah, the original because originally this was coming out spring 2021, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier was going to be first, and Doctor Strange had what's now Black Widow's release date, May 2021. So it was all going to sink in perfectly, and now it's like, ooh, people are. I like listen. I discussed this enough that I feel like I'm going to remember WandaVision for a while. I'm probably not going to rewatch WandaVision next year, like as a binge just before. I don't want to go through that emotional roller coaster again.
It depends on how good Spider-Man 3 is.
I mean, it's what
Yeah.
like 5 hours of content. That's not that bad.
You do it in a
Depends
weekend,
on
yeah.
how
It's the
good
emotional,
Spider-Man is.
the emotional part.
Because
That's the other thing. I think we also are forgetting that because Spider-Man ties into this, we might get some closure on that stuff. Not. I mean, we might get some closure on, or blah blah blah. We might see some of the stuff that we saw here that we're like, oh, why is that loose thread still there? We might see it, see where it's going.
Wanda's
Just a
not
little bit.
confirmed for Spider-Man, though.
No, but if Doctor Strange just explains something happened and someone opened up the multiverse, like if it's just a.
If she opens the multiverse, they're not going to introduce that through a throwaway line from Doctor Strange to Spider-Man. I don't think we're going to get any answers to WandaVision in Spider-Man. I think we're going to get Spider-Man's chaos of the multiverse, and then it all come together for Doctor Strange.
And if you look at the first two Spider-Man movies, they're more like taking things from the MCU rather than like having some huge revelatory.
Yeah, you're right. It's never like pushed the big stuff in the MCU.
Yeah.
Poor Peter just got framed for murder. Now he has to be the first one to deal with Wanda's shit.
Well, we don't even know if he has to deal with Wanda's shit. We don't know if Wanda opened. I don't think Wanda opened the multiverse. If anyone opened the multiverse, I think it was Bruce.
It was Bruce?
I think fucking around with the Infinity Stones and moving that shit around can, in theory, have fucked with the multiverse. And opening the multiverse, that's an entire debate on whether or not the multiverse can even be opened if it was closed before, if it's just humans are dumb and we just figured it out.
Yeah. Fair enough.
What if, like, when, you know, just on that post-credit scene where Wanda has the astral projection, she hears the kids' voices. What if, like, we don't see it on screen, but that's where she kind of opens the multiverse, and that's kind of what happens. Spider-Man 3 launches with, and
she tries to force herself into that universe and just fucks up, and then boom.
And it's something that happens off screen that she like hears, like wants to try and go help, but she like messes up.
Yeah,
and that's how what the event sets the events into motion of Spider-Man 3.
I guess we'll find out in December, right, guys?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Any final thoughts? What?
Eternals happens in between that too. If we were to get answers to anything with the multiverse before Doctor Strange, it's going to be Eternals. It's not going to be Spider-Man.
Yep.
That's true because Eternals doesn't have a clear like plot yet. They just say that these were gods that stepped away for a while and are now feeling like they need to step back into what they used to do. So clearly something woke them up, and people had been assuming Thanos, but now this makes a little bit more sense.
It's after an unexpected tragedy following the events of Avengers Endgame, the Eternals, an immortal alien race created by the Celestials who secretly lived on Earth for over 7,000 years, reunite to protect humanity from their evil counterparts, the Deviants.
And the evil counterparts sound like they're multiverse versions of them.
Yeah.
I think so.
More Thanos content. Hopefully.
Yeah.
I heard that there was like a thing that like the Eternals they were considering like because they know about Thanos that they were like going to show like baby or teenage Thanos, and that was also a scene that was considered in like either Infinity War or Endgame. I was just
See
like, I don't
that
want to see that
asshole's
shit.
nutsack chin as a child.
Also, if we actually saw baby Thanos and then we had Don Cheadle's line where he's just like,
Oh my gosh.
it's just like, oh, that would have been too close. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. It's been quite a journey with WandaVision. We are going to be off next week because nothing's dropping, but in 2 weeks, come back to Waypoint Podcast to watch our reactions to the pilot episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Everyone's socials will be in the description down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. See you next time. Bye.